But our lead this hour, headline from Park Avenue, Midtown Manhattan, concrete jungle. A big shakeup is being considered in the big leagues. Now, if you didn't hear about this, maybe you were busy living your life and not obsessing with this nonsense. Perhaps you missed it. So the streets have been talking here. And what are they saying? They're telling us that Major League Baseball is contemplating a 6-inning requirement. A 6-inning requirement for starting pitchers. Now, let me repeat that for those of you that are bad at hearing, maybe in the back of the room there, your hearing aid isn't working like Angry Bill. Major League Baseball is exploring a rule change that will mandate a starting pitcher goes 6 innings, not 5 innings, not 4 innings, 6 innings. They claim the mandate is to, quote, restore the prestige of the starting pitcher. Among other on-field goals, baseball has put in recent years things like the ghost runner, the 3-batter minimum for relief pitchers, the extra wild card team. We can go on and on. All right, so let us discuss the question. What do you make of Commissioner Rob Manfred's plan to mandate that Major League Baseball starters go 6 innings? So I've got Scotch tape, window dressing, and Bob Ross. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make a leap of faith is what we're going to do. So first of all, I'm going to begin with this. My first thought is that Rob Manfred is obsessed with futzing around with the game, that he does not believe the game is good. He does not believe the product is good, and he is hell-bent on changing. And what he's really doing, though, is kowtowing to television, because the TV people complain about these things, and Rob Manfred's like, well, that's the golden. I get why he's doing it from a pure business standpoint. If television says we don't want baseball anymore, then that's it. That is the death of baseball. So he wants to build a better mousetrap when the mousetrap they have is fine. Right? But my position on the 6-inning rule, the 6-inning rule for starting pitchers, I am ambivalent on this, and I have mixed emotions, because here's why. I agree with the premise that Major League Baseball needs to go MSPGA. MSPGA. Make starting pitchers great again. They should. They need to make starting pitchers great again. It's better for the business. It's better for television. It's an easier sport to sell. And baseball, for its entire history, up until the last 10, 15 years, had always positioned itself around the starting pitcher. They were just a little more important than every other player. They were the headliners on the Broadway show. And every sport has that. Baseball does not, because of the nerds. Nobody wants to talk about that part, but it's because of big data, right? Analytics and spreadsheets and trying to get a competitive edge. That is why they have killed this. That's it, right? In you look at the marketing of sports, the hype men of sports. Boxing, for so long, massive back in the day. Now it's MMA. But when boxing was in its heyday and they were dominating, you tuned in because obviously it was the big-name fighters. It was, depending how old you are, Muhammad Ali or the Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield era. It mattered. It meant something, right? Not as much anymore. So, well, they're the only ones in the ring. Of course, it meant something. But the whole marketing concept is based on trying to make things a spectacle, make it more important. In the NFL, when you get ready for an NFL game, you're not getting ready for the Chiefs and the Bengals. You're getting ready for Mahomes versus Burrow. They're above the headline there. And in the NBA, it's Nikola Jokic, the Joker, versus Steph Curry, and then the Warriors, right? They're the people that move the needle. And everything else is subterfuge. And for years, baseball was like that. It was big-time starting pitchers. And I remember when, back in my day, that you looked forward to matchups because you knew it was going to be good, and guys had to go. In those days, they pitched 6 or 7 innings, and and you were called a wuss and you were emasculated if you didn't go that far into a game. Nowadays, it's the opposite. People look at you like you're some kind of freak of nature, like you're some kind of lizard person if you go into the seventh inning. Like, what is wrong with you? You're making the rest of us look bad. It reminds me of when I used to go on the baseball beat back in the day, and they had this thing called the Major League Jog. We were very popular in the 90s when I was around baseball. And the Major League Jog is when you're an established Major League player and you hit a ball like a fly ball that you're pretty confident is going to be an out. You don't hustle, right? Now, you don't walk, but you don't run. They call it the Major League Jog. And then what inevitably happens, there'll be some hotshot minor league guy that'll come up. Back in those days, or maybe it was somebody who was like a lifetime minor leaguer who got a taste at the show, and they'd come up and they'd run like gangbusters. And they would be scolded by the other players because you're making us look bad. Now, when a starting pitcher goes late into a game, it's like, what's wrong with you, dude? Come on, man. 100 pitches? You need ice? 100 pitches. Why? Well, some guy in the 80s decided 100 pitches was all the human body could allow. God forbid, Fernando Valenzuela threw like 200 pitches in a game. Livan Hernandez in Cuba, the legend is, threw like 350 pitches in a day in Cuba. But I can go on. Anyway, Major League Baseball has lost its way because of the nerds. They've marginalized the starting pitcher. Now, we disagree, though, with the way Rob Manfred is planning on doing it. And this is my position. Much like the shift, they banned the shift. I was against that. These things should happen organically. It should be a market correction. You should not have government oversight. This is just bureaucracy. It's Scotch tape, but it's red tape and masking tape. You're masking the problem, the underlying condition in baseball. League officials have added all of these fugazi rules in recent years, right? But even this, there's always the exemption. The exemption for this is, well, if a pitcher suffers an injury, they don't have to go 6, obviously. If they throw more than 100 pitches, you don't have to go 6 innings. If you allow 4 or more earned runs, you are allowed to take the pitcher out. So it opens up the door for what? If the exemption is, hey, if you're suffering from an injury, all of a sudden, flopping will come to baseball for pitching, right? Oh, my aching back. Oh, my knee, my back, my knee, and my back. All right, now, secondly, great movie, Friday. Wonderful movie. All right, secondly, we fly into Philadelphia, where the Phillies have recently been a suckbag team. Actually, the last couple of days they've won, but they inspired a recent team meeting. MVP Bryce Harper did not hold back, did not bite his tongue. He addressed the Komodo dragon in the room. What did he say? The recent performance of the fighting Phils, who haven't shown much fight, said it's been unacceptable. That's the money quote. Bryce Harper calling the Phillies' performance on the field unacceptable while holding a team meeting, a clubhouse powwow. Will this solve the problem in the Delaware Valley? So I want to answer this by using algebra. N plus O equals no. The players-only meeting, a staple of slumping teams from sea to shining sea. You do it. It's a thing you do. You know how they have the circle of life, like you're born, you go to school, right, because society expects that, and then you find someone to spend your life with, you get married, you get career, then you retire, and you die. Right? That's like the circle of life. Well, in this case, the circle of slumping teams is team meeting, right? Team meeting. It has remained an enduring tradition over the years. It's always window dressing. You never hear about player-only meetings when things are going well. It's only something that happens when you stink, right? And this is an effort by Bryce Harper and the Phillies to keep the angry fans and media at bay. That's the effort here. It's the old, well, maybe this will help and this will shut them up. We're trying. You can't be upset with us. We're trying. Now, the Phillies, even with this bad play the last month, are still in really good shape, because they're tremendously talented, and the Mets and Braves have been like jackwagons over this same period of time. All right, final thought. After the bullpen blew a late lead in Milwaukee on Thursday afternoon. Dave Roberts' Dodgers find themselves falling apart. Their National League West lead is down to just 2 games. Is it Panic City in La La Land? So I'm shaking my head no. You can't see me, and if you can see me, you're a stalker, and I'm going to call the cops. This is a Bob Ross special. It's a happy little accident. I am Benny Brightside on the Doyers. I want to see them keep losing. I do. I'm not. You guys keep trying to bust my balls. You're sending me these messages. I see them. Here's why I believe it's a good thing. It's a blessing in disguise. In recent years, the Dodgers have coasted into the postseason. Last couple of years, they have been on cruise control, on autopilot, going into the playoffs. And then the playoffs have started the last couple of years, and what do? They have first-class seats on the Vomit Comet in the postseason. So I'm happy that the Padres and the Diamondbacks, teams that have beaten them, by the way, in recent years in the playoffs, are holding them accountable. That's good. I would like to see the Dodgers barely get in the playoffs as a wild card team. Bring on the boiling cauldron. I can't go to Dodger Stadium anymore. I got banned anyway because of Ohtani. Fine. I don't care. I'm not going to go to those games anyway. Let them play on the road. Part of me wants the Dodgers, again, just to barely get in the playoffs as that last wild card team in the National League, have to have every disadvantage in the world because they're going to have to win high-pressure games. And that's what you have to do in the playoffs. And, by the way, it is a win-win situation for me because either they figure this thing out and they go on a run, they get back to a World Series, win another championship, or this goes sideways and upside down, and there's upheaval in La La Land, and Dave Roberts finally becomes the fall guy. Because they got to get rid of somebody. If the Dodgers don't make the playoffs or barely get in the playoffs and lose in the first round, someone's going to lose their job. And why not Dave Roberts? We really like them in that spot. So they either win or Dave Roberts is gone.